Okay. Good morning.
Jen is looking.
Okay, good morning. This is the Columbia Open Space Committee regular meeting on Thursday, February 15th, 2024 at 9 a.m. I will entertain motion to approve the minutes of January 18th.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Okay. Audience of citizens.
Nothing.
Okay. All right, updates. Honor has not chimed in, has she?
Nope.
No, okay. Kelly Dwasty has COVID and will not be with us this morning, but I have a report.
Did you get this?
She would like
Honor,
us-
Honor did just ping him.
Did she? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Kelly reports that both contracts have been signed between TPL and D and TPL and IMBA, International Mountain Biking Association. So they're ready to move forward and on the master trails plan with IMBA, and she will send an update as soon as she has the timeline for that work. Okay,
Which that means it's all approved and.
ready to go.
Oh.
Yep, that's amazing. Okay, is Honor in here?
Honor, are you on now?
Yes, I can't, the video's not working. It says it failed to start the video camera, but I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Great. Sorry, I was having trouble logging in, but sounds like Anne, you let them know about the contract and all that, which is
Yep.
ready to go.
What?
You let them know about the IMBA contract, it sounded like.
Yes, yes.
Oh, great. Yes, very exciting. There were some growing pains with, I think, getting that, getting everything executed because of some of the terms and things, but and TPL is a little bit of a middleman in this situation, but very exciting, ready to move forward. I know Callie is coordinating with IMBA on timing and that kind of thing, and she's gonna be helping out a lot on this one. So, yeah.
Good. You want to tell us about Camp Laurel?
I do, yes. While not in Columbia, maybe perhaps relevant to this group, in the event that we are able to get the state interested in adding it to Mono Pond State Park, or, you know, if not added to Mono Pond State Park as a separate state-owned parcel. You know, we had proposed this to the state a while ago, and it took us a little bit of time to get under contract. And when we brought it back to the state of Connecticut, they said that they had other priorities, which they were going to be using the funds that would otherwise be available for something like Camp Laurel. They were going to be using those on, you know, infrastructure improvements, deferred maintenance at existing state parks and things like that, which is, you know, of course, necessary. We're way behind. I know the state DEEP is way behind on deferred maintenance and things like that, but also unfortunate for the Camp Laurel project. And so we thought that Joshua's Trust might be another option, as landowner. And so we've been talking to them, and we were ready to apply for some grant funding that would pave the way for acquisition capital. And it turned out that Joshua's Trust just really wasn't comfortable with the uncertainties around the dam and the infrastructure. And so they've backed out politely from the partnership. And so Ann and I both went actually to the Lebanon Conservation and Agriculture Commission meeting a week and a half ago. And the town is just not capable of owning the land. And so our sort of last resorts are either going to Avalonia Land Conservancy, which I need to make a call and see how the conversation went with someone who's going to reach out to them, and then, or pitching it back to the state. And so Senator or Representative Kathy Austin was at that meeting, and she was going to do a little digging at the Capitol to see if there's interest and what have you. And so the latest that I have is that there is a bill proposed right now in the legislative session for up to $1 million in bonding for Camp Laurel. And that's been proposed by Kathy Austin. She's the sponsor. And this came as, a little bit of a surprise because but anyone can propose a bill. And what we hope to do now is sort of a campaign of sorts to try and get that through the legislature and to the bonding commission. And, TPL has to be very careful about how we lobby and make sure that we follow, all the campaign finance laws and all the lobby laws that are applicable to nonprofits. And so we will navigate that. But the thing that we're going to have to do is, figure out how we get other legislators to join the bill. And so they can attach themselves to it. They can support it. We would love it to be, bipartisan support. And it will require residents advocating to their legislators to support that, because everybody's, when it comes to bonding, everybody's got a dog in the fight in their own communities. And so we just need to figure out if we can get enough support to get this thing through. And, oftentimes a bill will go to a committee and just die. And that's that. But we're hoping that this one, can get some traction and proceed all the way. I have no, I'm not sure how realistic that is. This is sort of very new to me right now. I just found out about it on Monday. So that's the story of Camp Laurel, where I've got a call scheduled with the state to revisit now that this bill is in front of the legislature, and talk through our options and how the DEP is going to approach this now that it's gotten some political backing.
Honored, what you really need is some marketing. You need to address it the way the Boy Scout camp in Killingly was. Like, developers are going to take this property and ruin it if the state doesn't buy it, and that's what saved the Boy Scout camp. Strong language.
Honor, does this bill have a number yet?
It does, and I'm going to share that with you in 2 minutes once it loads on my phone. So part of the bill will be public testimony, and to that end, anyone can provide public testimony to support a bill. And so we would encourage everyone and anyone that cares about this property to think about whether that's something that they would do. The bill is proposed Senate Bill number 63. an act authorizing bonds of the state to purchase Camp Laurel in Lebanon as open space. And I can send you all the link, and there's the proposed bill. The text of the bill is available there too. So
Good. I look forward to that. And we'll work with, Lebanon's conservation group to get a letter writing campaign going.
great.
Have you, you must know Amy Blaymore Patterson.
Yes, yes, and we will be reaching out to her to talk about this. We'll be reaching out to alumni of the Girl Scouts. We'll be reaching out to folks that we think would have a vested interest, folks that care about state goals of, protected land, state parks, all of that. But it's, and we're going to have to be very quick. So, this is I think a shorter legislative session. But I don't know how long we have before. I know this was referred to the Finance Committee. I think it has a longer name than that. It was referred to the Joint Committee on Finance, Revenue, and Bonding. And so I'm not, this isn't my forte, how these things flow through the how a bill becomes a law, right? Or how a bill gets bonded. But I'm going to work with Amy, and we have a lobbyist at the Capitol. His name's Mike, and he is going to help us navigate this and let us know what we can do, what we can't do, and what we should do, and who we should reach out to. And so we'll be scheduling that meeting very soon, and I will definitely be in touch with all of you if there are things that would be helpful.
Good. And in addition, I'll get in touch with Amy.
Great.
You, but I will too.
That's great.
Okay,
Stakeholder meeting.
go ahead.
Is there any plans now that the contracts are signed to get together the stakeholders or the proposed stakeholders from Mono Pond with IMBA?
Yeah, so the very first step was getting that contract signed. And TPL met with Kim Bradley, and who is in charge of the Rec Trails grant program. And so we sort of thought of that as the kickoff meeting, and there will be lots of time for stakeholder meetings, public input, all of that stuff will happen, and IMBA will be facilitating some of those. TPL will be a partner, but you will absolutely have a chance to be involved in that. It just is not scheduled yet.
Okay. Have you heard for the airline trail? I had heard that CTRCD had signed a contract with the state to move forward with the master plan, but I haven't seen anything in writing anywhere.
So I know that the RC&D received a Rec Trails grant in a past, I think maybe last year, to do the airline state park master plan. And so I referenced that in an application I was putting together for Camp Laurel, actually. And so that has been completed. In terms of, we might be talking about different things, Tom, but there's a plan that talks about the goals. And so connectivity, recreational opportunities spurring off the trail, economic development along the trail that is outdoor recreation oriented. There are all sorts of goals and priorities that are listed in that plan. I don't know if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, the actual next step with that was, my understanding was that they were going to get some funding to go to the next step, because there's been no meetings or anything in probably a year now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not certain of what's happening there.
Okay.
Kim would probably know, though, or Gene Davies, or someone who's more intimately associated with that project.
Yeah, that was one of those things as IMBA starts moving forward, if that group really is up and running again, that they'd be involved as a stakeholder because of the shared 1 mile boundary between the two parks.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
For me, I think the big thing that's hovering over hovering over me is this bill and figuring out how we get that through, or figuring out what's going to happen there. And so I'll be working on that. Callie will be paying attention to IMBA and scheduling the meetings with stakeholders, the, kickoff meeting with IMBA and the state. And I am sure she'll be in contact with you guys as things move along there.
Well, I don't know if you had heard at all that Friends of Mono Pond filed a request for a grant at the end of January. The grant for the control of aquatic invasive species for Mono Pond.
Okay.
And our grant request was for 50,000, where we'd be responsible for, I think, 12,500. So I don't know how long that's going to take to be acted on. But at least we're in the process, which may or may
Oh,
not,
that's great.
may or may not be something where IMBA would want to know about. If we get it or if we don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think, natural resource management is definitely top of mind for them as they put together this trails plan, the pond, if there are sensitive resources there. I mean, there's probably not a vector from bicycles, people aren't biking into the pond and, bringing invasive species in, but it's still good to know that if there are sensitivities around the pond or anything like that, they'll, I'm sure, be
All right, I'll
interested in
send you a
that.
copy of what we submitted.
Great.
Anybody else have a question for Honor?
I just have a question about the dam. If the dam at Camp Laurel had been such a stumbling block for so long, had it ever been discussed to just breach it?
Yes, we've discussed that. That was obviously the sort of most intuitive thing that folks were saying, well, what if we just breach it? It's brought down every year. And so when Joshua's Trust went out there to tour the property and they talked to the ranger, my understanding is that he made it clear that, even in its fully breached condition, it was still impounding water. And so it is, if you let a dam out, right, like open the valves, and it's not impounding water, then it begs the question of if it's really a dam. And there's, some engineering work that could be done there to assess the drainage basin, the 100-year storm events. Like, how does this dam impound water during a 100-year storm? And, what is the drainage basin, the cubic square feet of water that it's that are flowing through the dam? And so there is some assessment work we can do, but according to the park ranger there, who is not an engineer, but told Joshua's Trust that it absolutely is a dam and impounds water. And, we had a lot of rains this summer, and the dam was, it was backing up water even in its breached condition. So this is not my specialty. I've certainly, we've explored that, Paul, to say, well, what if we just breached it? The state, the state's take is that you do this assessment, you look at the drainage basin, you look at the 100-year storm event, and if there are attributes that support it not being a dam, then yes, you could make a case to the state, say this is not really a dam, you know, because in its breach condition, it's yada, yada, yada. And they would take that into consideration and possibly change the consent order. That says, you know, it's out of compliance. So they would remove it from the list of dams out of compliance potentially. But what I understand is that that's pretty unlikely given the rain event this year and how everything looked. We're still going to do some type of assessment to figure this out, because that would be the simplest. The other challenge with just removing it or breaching it is that there are dams downstream. And so I don't know, you know, this stuff well enough to know how breaching this dam would affect the downstream dams in terms of, you know, year-round flow, and, you know, how it would affect other wetlands that are currently not engaged. It's just, it's more complicated than I think, you know, we would like it to be, but we're going to try and figure it out one way or another. So we've just got some work to do. It's not, you know, you don't get answers on this stuff quickly from dam safety, and it's a whole process.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Joshua's Trust owns a dam, and it has cost them a great deal of money to maintain and have the dam inspected. And the property on which this dam is, it's came with, I don't know, $1.5 million endowment. So they've been able to handle it, but they've sort of made this knee-jerk decision that we will never take another dam. They're also afraid of the expense of all the infrastructure, the buildings and things like that come with this property. Otherwise, they'd love to take it.
The pond is the headwaters for the 10-mile river.
Yes.
Probably acts as a detention pond.
What?
It probably acts as a detention pond. That's what Connor's talking about, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what, it'll probably cheaper to rebuild the dam than do the study.
Yeah. Anyway, and I don't think the Girl Scouts were offering an endowment with this dam, were they?
That's not part of our contract, no, but the appraisal did take into consideration the significant financial liability of it. But it's pretty hard to capture that in an appraisal, you know, without more knowledge and assessments and things like that, engineering. So, you know, it was taken into consideration. I don't know how, how any new information would inform the appraisal better, but, you know, it's possible that we have to do that when it comes time to do an appraisal, an updated appraisal for the state, if they're willing partners.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it from me.
Okay. Thank you very much for attending. You're welcome to stay. But
Thank you. Well, I'm looking forward to kicking off this, you know, I know Callie's excited too, to kick off the trail stuff, and I'll send you all an email about the bill. I'll send it to Mark and Ann, and they can distribute as necessary. So anything, you know, anyone you know that might care about it, you know, feel free to send them information about it.
we will. And anything else we can do to help you, let us know.
Will do. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Okay,
Terrific. Thank you, Honor.
All right,
Thanks.
be in touch soon.
okay.
Kiss on the face,
Thanks.
boss.
Okay. Planning and zoning.
Short one today, there's really nothing changed since the last meeting. We have some grammatical editorial type of updates to the regulations that we were talking about in neighborhood housing, but nothing significant. We're still in the review process, making sure, because I probably talked about this, but you change one thing and then it's fighting with other regulations, so we're trying to make sure that we don't create more confusion, more micromanagement. So we're just running through the rest of the document and documents, especially like we have a separate regulation for multifamily housing, which is kind of very similar to what we're working on with this. So we're looking at how to update stuff. And then there's an opportunity, I've been working with John Kiskowski, there's an opportunity to have our town engineering firm review the proposed regulation change. So that's something we had talked about. So we're in the process of that. It's still gonna be a little bit before anything finalized. It finalizes or goes to public hearing. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Good.
Yeah.
And thank you for updating us on the checklist.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, like there's, I think a lot of that based around the subdivision piece, which is completely separate. So yeah, anything like that. I wanted to help.
Good. Thank you.
Hey, Ann, I have a question for Justin.
Sure.
Thanks. Justin, am I supposed to be sending anything to a town engineer?
I don't think so. I have another meeting with John to double check. He and I have been talking about it, so I'll try to figure out the details, but I don't think so at this point.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. How are we doing with the Route 66 property? Mark? That's-
I haven't gotten in touch with the cell tower company, so that's still on my plate.
Okay,
I'll make that a priority once I get the budget a little more under control, but I'll get on that.
okay, good. And nothing on Anita Faye Ram and her bench?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What, did that just sort of
It,
just,
it's hanging out there. I really need probably to get with Chris Ram and ask him what should we accomplish. I don't have any time with DPW. They're too busy rebuilding roads right now from all our flooding.
yes. Okay, Pine Street parking.
We're working on that. Rob and I have some next steps that we're working with.
Why don't you just take the huge excavator that's up there on Hunt Road for the past 6 weeks doing nothing and take it down there and just clear the trail? I mean, that would be good use for the equipment. Mark.
We walked the trail with both owners, and Rob and I have some next steps. So I'll let me accomplish those first, and we'll report back.
Okay, thank you. All right, have we heard anything from Knob River Trail Alliance?
No, not recently.
There we go. And you did allude to a report about the 12-town airline trail.
Yes, so what I had heard, which I don't, as I said, I haven't seen it in writing, was that there was another contract or something signed between the state and CTRCD to move forward with the next steps, and I've reached out to them a couple of times asking to be included in any kind of emails and things, and no responses yet.
Okay, and CTRD stands for,
Whatever it is,
like something like Connecticut Regional,
Conservation, I don't even remember.
I forget too.
It's not regional, it's resource development.
Yeah.
Resource Development Agency or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
That's the problem, all those letter crap.
yeah,
They don't tell you what they are anymore.
I think it used to
Which is
be
why I had-
rural development. And I think they changed it to resource development.
And the one we call Mount NPT, NPS, and we say that, you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
People
I know.
don't want to use words anymore, I don't understand, it's the same number of words, just letters, it's a word, it's stupid,
Exactly.
that's my, editorial comment.
Well, anyway, so with the 12 Town Trail Alliance, we got the trail grant, right? And they developed, he's looking up what it was.
yeah, I'm trying to look it up quick.
And they conducted this, I guess they have a plan now. And so I'm assuming that the latest rumblings are, how are we gonna implement this plan? So stay tuned. Okay, now, I think I sent everybody an invitation, the Hop River Preserve.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second.
Okay, go ahead. What is
So
it?
it's the Connecticut Resource Conservation and Development.
There's a C in. Okay,
So
Resource Conservation and Development. Okay. All right, Hop River Preserve. This is our piece of open space on the Hop River. And the town very generously funded a ground penetrating radar and magnetic something study of the mill ruins. And on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, February 20th, at 5 o'clock right here, the scientist who does this GPR stuff is giving his report. So if you're interested, you're welcome.
Will that be recorded, you think, or? It's gonna be Zoom.
It'll be Zoom, so it'll be
Can we
recorded.
access it afterwards?
Could be.
Mark,
I don't know if it's a formal town meeting or anything, but if it's Zoom, then.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how to do this, but I think you can go into agendas and minutes and stuff and find the recordings. Is that true, Mark?
Well, it'll be under a meeting. It'll be whatever it's called. I guess it's the presentation of ground penetration radar by Dr. Leslie. It'll probably be under the Hop River Preserve, but I'll ask Jen how she's going to file it. But that's at 5. Board of Selectmen starts at 7. So it would be before the Board of Selectmen meeting
Right.
next week. So I'll run it with the Zoom out of the conference room.
Okay. All right.
There'll also be a walk at 3:30. And Hop River.
Yes, if you haven't seen the property and you want to, Joan Hill said she would be at the property at 3:30 and show you where the ground penetrating radar was done.
Just out of curiosity, what is the purpose of knowing where they're buried?
It helps you know where
You're
to
not
dig.
thinking excavating them, I assume, or are they? That's.
It is possible that they will do an archaeological dig.
I can probably also assume that because of bridge construction, they want to make sure nothing interferes, too, with that be part of it.
Yes.
Maybe we're done that.
Yes,
They're close enough to the construction site. I guess they don't know where the foundations are exactly, so that's what they're doing. That was my. Yeah.
yes. I don't know much about it. But, if not being an archaeologist, but, Joan has, done this, with, the Friends of the State Archaeologist group that she participates in. And, she did a gig, she participated in a dig last summer in Glastonbury. And they, it was a field that had never been plowed, never been developed. Nothing was built on it. So it was like pristine from the 1500s. And they found a lot of stuff there. Actually, it was Glastonbury or Wethersfield. It was a very early European settlement. So that was pretty exciting. Our site on Hot River has been, shall we say, molested a number of times. One mill, then half an hour, then put another on top of it. Then junk was piled on it, you know. So it's not pristine. And that's another reason you do the ground penetrating radar. It helps you sort out what you're looking at, I guess. Yep. Okay, Salmon River, any news?
No, we did have a meeting, past, at searchers, so you can't say that. I did ask them to update the Columbia portion of the watershed recreation map, showing all the towns and lands that have been set aside. And I saw discrepancies in Columbia, so they did do that. I printed out a copy in black and white. It doesn't really do justice to what they sent me. So I think I'll send an attachment to each of you, just for you to see. It's a cute little map, the tax assessor's map, designating. It's an update to what Monmouth Pond consists of, on State Park. And, but I'll send that to you anyway.
Very good, thank you.
We will meet next week, so there'll be something next month.
But Friends of Monmouth Pond,
So the big news, which I shared earlier, was we had applied for a grant at the end of January for the control of aquatic invasive species in Monmouth Pond. I have no idea how long the process is going to take till we hear anything, but at least we're.
Are you aware that the town had spent quite a bit of money doing something for that already? I think there's a study that was done. I don't know if we have access to that. It was quite a few years ago, but my. Yeah, it was 2012, and it was Cortland. And all they did was say, stand by. We'll see what happens. I thought we had more. Nope. Well,
It's actually starting more than one.
2012, it's study, 2016.
the one, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the first study.
Yeah.
The first study,
a couple of times.
yeah, from Bugby at, okay, that's what I thought. Out of New Haven. I don't know if there's any use, but that might be. I don't know if it's the support we're asking to do or what, but. Well, he identified, at that time, they did a survey and they identified all the invasives in the pond. But since then, they have multiplied, and I'm sorry, if that was 2012. Cortland came in a few years later and just took a quick cursory look and said, just let it lie and we'll revisit it. And we've never revisited it. But it's at the point now that there's almost no fishing because you can't cast them into it. And, it's probably really time to do something. Hopefully, what would we do? Actually, I think, now this is my opinion, but I think it's a harvester. It's a harvester that goes in, pulls the plants out by the roots, puts them on board, takes them to the parking lot, unloads them. They then load them on a truck and probably take them to the dump, to compost. Let's keep them from running back into nothing. But it is, there is, once you got invasives, this is forever. So all you can do is attempt to every once in a while control them.
Paul Cordonaway, do you have anything you wish to add?
Everything it said is true. As far as the timing, they do want to be on contract by May. So it's fairly quick, I guess, from the standpoint of the government working. But that's the only thing you know about timing.
Okay, and this grant was for 50,000?
Yeah, 50,000, and
Okay.
our contribution of 12.5 is we suggest it's going to be in time work
Okay,
as opposed to dollars.
12,500.
Is there any cost to the town above and beyond the grant?
Not yet.
I don't know, we didn't put anything in the proposal about that, but lawyers are gonna look at the paperwork, et cetera, so there'll be some types of expenses. But we didn't get into that detail as far as the proposal.
Have you discussed with the town this match?
No. Oh, well, Mark is aware. And as far as whether we talk to the selectmen or not, there's been. So. discussion.
Is Friends of Mount Pond for the money?
Friends of Mono Pond is requesting the grant. And a part of the grant application is there's an amount of money that we would need to put in. And that would be the 12,500. But we can offset that with just volunteer hours associated with the project.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
I just want to know if I should, start saving money for my senior member,
Right now, I don't,
didn't say, depends on what I'm buying, they're coming with $12,500. I didn't see anything in the, minutes saying, Bob, do you agree to spend $1,000? I mean, how many numbers do we have? I just figured you got it. Okay.
well, the thing is, we could, if and when they approve, if they approve it, then what, what are the next steps? If they disapprove it, we don't have to think very hard, so. And I'm assuming there's gonna be hundreds of applications ahead of us in line, but maybe not.
The article I read about was where they couldn't remember, so that's probably gonna take preference over Mount Pond, but we'll see.
So this is a study, I'm sorry, this is a study, so the grant be for a study to determine the level of invasive.
No, it's actually to do something.
To do something, to take action.
That might be that study that we did, might be helpful there.
Yep, that was referenced in the application. Yep, because Paul had brought that up to us, and Paul had done most of the legwork on putting the whole grant application together.
So if it goes through, then I'm assuming, so it's a remediation basically of the invasive species, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's the intent, yeah.
Okay, so just out of curiosity then, out of the conversation that we were having here, what is the extent and long-term prognosis for the remediation then before the invasive species comes back?
There'll be so many years you guys are.
Well, I think the study will help us answer that question accurately. But the span of the contract is only for 2 years. And so whatever we do under this grant has got to be accomplished within a 2-year time. And we brought out having a study, in front of us to say that we would do harvesting likely or some other kind of treatment. And I need to come back and look at it again after that 2 years with, some voluntary work or something like that, or maybe some follow-on lesser expensive study. But we've only in the proposal suggested what we're gonna do in that 2-year period.
So the goal would be a long-term mean, so the,
Well, I think, yeah, the Pentagon Pond goal would be to have something more long-term, more residual.
thanks.
And that's one of those things too, that if IMBA really gets into this whole master plan. And I would assume the pond being the name of the park, that they would want to have something in the master plan to say, yeah, based on this, if we were able to do this study. That this would influence what some other direction they'd want to go in their master plan for how to, remediate and everything else down the road.
Okay. Okay, new business. Educate and inform.
Okay, each of you has got a handout. Chris and I, we worked on this. Preserving land for future generations. This is just kind of an overview on what the potential possibilities are for people that might want to preserve their land. It gives them an idea of what the alternatives are, and then it ends with contact information. And there's a lot of places, there are a lot of people that this could go to. I mean, I've already talked in previous meetings that I had a list of 6 or 8 people that fell into the category of you at least need to get some information to them, regardless of whether they act on it now. In the case of one particular couple, I know they wanted to do something and they had no idea whatsoever where to start. So this at least, and what I thought was, if you think of anybody that maybe has a little land that this might be appropriate to send to, I'm thinking that our initial action should be to have a personal note from one of us with this. Like I could send it to this couple that I've met that would really like to do something now. And we could just kind of divide this up among ourselves. But I think a nice little personal note on top of this, and then we see where it goes.
Would it be better to have them call one person so they get some direction, which one of these people might be more applicable? Like probably Connecticut Farm Trust, but it probably wouldn't be appropriate for a lot of them, depending on farming capabilities. So maybe, I don't know who that person would be, but Ann might be Wall. Mark Walker. Maybe Mark Walker might be the first to contact me. But Mark's left to it. You can direct someone to what makes most sense, so they're not picking out of here and getting discouraged because they call the Connecticut Farmland Trust. They tell them, "Are you kidding? This is worthless." You know what I mean? Very specific land to go to certain types of groups. So if they want to get a direction to say, yeah, you should check this group. You got to list everyone here. I read this. Okay, who should I call? I don't know. I think it'd be nice to have one contact. These are suggested possibilities. You talk to Mark or Ann, let's say, they can help you directly to which one you might be most appropriate. I don't know.
Chris, what do you think?
You leave all the names and say, these are some possibilities. You're talking Chance or Mark.
Yeah, I think Mark and Ann.
Your point is well taken. I think.
Yeah,
It might be interesting.
Just looking at all
Chet.
the resources that were there, and then resources are good, yeah, but that gives them an idea that there are places that there are possibilities, and then have them direct say, you talk to this so-and-so or so-and-so, they can help you and you can explain where you're at, and or Paul says, you think of this one, maybe that's the thing we talk about signing it. Contact me, we can talk about it, I can direct you to it.
sure.
I think Mark is probably the best option, or the town manager is the best option for that.
Except you send them to me
Oh.
Right, Mark?
Right. So,
My name on the wall.
so,
What can we want to be like, in this case, where Paul's made contact already, is he, well, that's where you talk to him. Sure, and then you can send them in. Right.
what might be interesting is to ask representatives from all 3 or 4 organizations to come into a forum and then, you know, say, here's all these different possibilities. And will be a 15-minute overview from each of these to see what might work for you guys. You know.
People like a welcome to the forum. Yeah, I don't everybody does that.
We've done forums.
I know, this, you got some, we we're talking about, people, not Paul's talking about, they're already in pot and trot. So at this point, they need to get a contact that they can actually deal with.
Actually, we were thinking about putting this in the views as a, something from the Conservation Commission.
Should be good.
And so I think.
Why don't we put my name or any member of the Open Space Committee? Then, if they don't like me, they don't have to call me. They can go on the website and,
That's true.
although, who doesn't like me?
Oh,
You think, I think.
I swear my name is written on the wall in this town hall. I get phone calls from people for cemetery lots and open space and conservation.
So are you okay with me just putting your name in there as a conservation?
Primary contact.
We were sort of trying to avoid making this look like an open space propaganda piece, so we're gonna put it out under the Conservation Commission, but I don't think it's a big deal.
The way I look at it, it's information. You know, everybody knows they've got this piece of land and they want to do something with it. But they don't know what. Well, everybody knows a realtor or developer because they advertise, right? But they may not be aware that there are other things you can do with it. And so it's all about choice. It's not that we're pushing,
Yeah,
No.
you're right. It's-
it's
Very-
information.
Yeah, it's an excellent education.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm just laying out facts here.
I don't think looks like you're looking for people who are looking for help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good way to put it.
And then you're giving them a contact that they can call, and you're giving them some of the things that that person might suggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we found a nice handout that really goes into this in much more detail, that we're gonna get some copies of that we can hand out.
Yes, it's,
On the web, you know, we're not-
I don't have a copy of it, it's online, but it's a beautiful brochure of 10 pages with beautiful colored pictures, and it's put out by the Connecticut Land Conservation Council. And it's leans towards land trust, contacting the land trust, because that's what they do. But I got in touch with Amy Patterson, and she's gonna send us 50 copies. So we'll put them in. I don't know if everyone knows this, but when someone moves into town, the town clerk has a little welcome to Columbia packet that tells you how recreation in the school and I don't know what else. And we'll ask that this be put in just for information purposes.
So welcome to town, you wanna give away your land?
Not
Few
given
questions, seems a little-
Let's do a quick draw.
Yeah.
All right, Andy.
Okay, please don't
Just-
your land.
I'll just tell you, we try to conserve land in Columbia, but so how many people move into town? So she won't use up 50 of them. The others for us, or therefore, you know, somebody walks into Mark's office and says, I'd love to conserve my land. He'll need one of these two, you know, or if we table
here's Berlin.
something. Okay,
Hey, Ann, can I just, I'm gonna jump to another meeting. I wanted to throw in a plug for a meeting on February 29th at 6 o'clock in the evening. I think there's pizza. It's the kicking off of the sustainability effort again, so we can
Yes.
get our recognition with the state. And Jen has a lot more information on it. I asked her to just pop in and fill you in, but it might be something that could help open space with a sustainability subcommittee, just like what you're talking about, and you could come up with projects and drive it through sustainability of open space.
yep,
But we're
February-
having someone from the state come in and help us kick it off again. COVID kind of killed us. We were doing great. We started with the farmers markets, and we started the art council with the Becca Senior Center. All those, well, the farmers market kind of fizzled, but the art council is going strong. They just had a huge kickoff at the senior center yesterday for the art council. But
Yep.
if you poke your head in, Jen will give you more information, but I got to run. Take care.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone.
29,
29.
29th, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, I assume here. Everything else is here. Okay, I just want to report that the Connecticut Land Conservation Council conference is March 23rd. They'll be opening registration in a couple of weeks. I'll send you that, okay?
That's at Wesleyan?
Yes,
Yep, Weston.
it's a really nice conference. too.
Yeah, it's very well done. Okay, also, Joshua's Trust annual meeting has a speaker. Let's see, it's on April 13th. The JT annual meeting in Knowlton Hall. And where is that? Ashford. And their guest speaker is the executive director of where is it? Maine Rivers Organization. And she's going to talk about fish ladders. And everybody's welcome. Walker Holmes at TPL sent me this. Mono Pond State Park made the annual report again. And I would like to call attention to two articles in Columbia Views. One is on the Hop River GPR. So we got some ink in there. And the other one is from Conservation and Agriculture about community farming. Okay, anybody have anything else? Rob, did you want to talk about this?
Actually, Paul asked, but I think it's,
I just thought a nice update would be good.
Okay, Rob very generously did an updated map with Monopine State Park.
I guess, yeah, a little bit of thing. We did in reference to the Pine Street. I'm going to be trying to produce a detailed map of where the what's out there. The current, where it's not Kinney, it's Weldwood, I guess, the one really, but everyone thinks it's Kinney Road. Actually, go out there and physically, there's no accurate map exactly where the boulders are, where the wire fences are, and things like that. To actually determine if we were to build a trail, where we could actually put it, and actually be able to present something to someone saying, this is what the town would like to do, so it's actually on paper. I'm waiting for better weather.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Go in.
We do have trail maintenance down
I do,
here.
but it's 10 o'clock and everyone's champing at the bit. And I don't know about you, but Rec Park and Utley are great.
Monopond is good and Zegda Farm is good. At least before the storms.
Okay, I know why that's there. You're looking to start a trails group. We're looking, go ahead, Tom.
No, we were looking to come up with a volunteer group to maintain trails in Columbia and all the different locations. And I was gonna work with the prior rec director and have people, have a database there and manage through some sort of application process with rec. But until we get a new rec director and see if that's still an option or not. It's kind of on hold.
What a shame that was. We really-
Okay, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're done. Thank you all.
Yes. So